Hello friends, welcome back to the third part of the explanation of the Elegy written in a country churchyard by Thomas Gray. Today, in this video, I shall discuss from stanzas 12 to stanza 20. So, let us begin. Perhaps in this neglected spot is laid some heart once pregnant with celestial fire, hands that the rod of empire might have swayed, or wait to ecstasy the living lyre. The speaker considers the poor people in the churchyard who were so full of great ideas, abilities, or goals. He wonders what great deeds they might have accomplished had they been given the opportunity. One of these poor farmers, the speaker reasons, might have been a great king or emperor. Another might have waved the living lyre, or been a great poet or musician. Now, waked to ecstasy, the living lyre here means played beautiful music on a musical instrument called lyre. Stanza 13. But knowledge to their eyes her ample page, rich with the spoils of time, did never unroll. Chill penury repressed the noble rage and froze the genial current of the soul. The poor were never able to fulfill their political and artistic potential. However, because they were uneducated, they never received the knowledge that would enable them to rule and to create. Instead, penury or poverty froze the genial current of the soul. That is, poverty paralyzed their ability to draw upon their innermost passions, the very passions that could have inspired them to become great poets or politicians. Now, look here, the use of anastrophe. Now, anastrophe is a figure of speech that inverts the normal word order. That is, here the poet uses knowledge did never unroll. He has also used personification and is called knowledge, which becomes a person and it is a female. Stanza 14. Full many a gem of purest ray serene, the dark, unfathomed caves of ocean bare. Full many a flowers is born to flush unseen, and waste its sweetness on the desert air. As the poem continues, the narrator begins to focus less on the countryside and more on his immediate surroundings. His descriptions begin to move from sensation to his own thoughts about the dead. As the poem changes, the narrator begins to emphasize what is not present in the scene. He contrasts an obscure country life with a life that is remembered. This contemplation provokes the narrator's thoughts on waste that comes in nature. And so, in a series of analogies, Gray observes that the talents of the poor are like a gem hidden in the ocean or a flower blooming in the desert, just as an unseen flower in the desert is a waste. Gray suggests the uneducated talents of the poor are also a waste because they remain unused and undeveloped. The figure of speech used here is metaphor. Now Gray compares the dead village people to gems and flowers. Stanza 15. Some village Hampton that with dauntless breast, the little tyrant of his fields withstood some mute inglorious Milton, here may rest, some Cromwell guiltless of his country's blood. The speaker then compares these poor, uneducated people to three of the most famous and powerful people of the previous century. John Hampton, a parliamentary leader who defended the people against the abuses of Charles I. John Milton, the great poet who wrote Paradise Lost and who also opposed Charles I, and Oliver Cromwell, Lord Protector of England from 1653 to 1658. The speaker suggests that buried in this churchyard might be someone who, like Hampton, Milton, or Cromwell, had the innate ability to oppose tyranny, but never had the opportunity to exercise that ability. Stanza 16. The applause of listening senates to command, the threats of pain and ruin to despise, to scatter plenty over a smiling land, and read their history in a nation's eyes. This person, the speaker, reasons with proper education and resources, might have commanded the government as well as any great political leader. Note, however, that Gray gives us two ways in which to consider this power. On the one hand, a great ruler can receive applause and can ignore threats of pain and ruin. A great leader can scatter plenty, can offer prosperity to a grateful nation. But on the other hand, if one governs, one is in fact exposed to dangerous threats, and simply governing to receive applause suggests a shallow and self serving motive. Moreover, scattering plenty implies that the wealth of a nation can be squandered by its rulers. Gray may be suggesting that having power is not as desirable as it seems. Note that the final line of the stanza is enjambed. It continues into the following line, and in this case, the next stanza. Stanza 17. Their Lord forbade, nor circumscribed alone, their growing virtues, but the crimes confined, forbade to wade through slaughter to a throne, and shut the gates of mercy on mankind. First line of this stanza continues the thought of the previous enjambed line. It abruptly reminds us that the impoverished conditions of the poor forbade them from becoming great rulers. Gray underscores the abrupt shock of this idea by abruptly interrupting the flow of line with a caesura. Building on the idea of the previous stanza, the speaker notes that if poverty prevented the country laborers from acquiring the virtues of great and powerful people, it also prevented them from committing the crimes often associated with those people and especially with those people who hold political power. In particular, it prevented them from engaging in the bloody activity associated with the British Civil War. Stanza 18. The struggling pangs of conscious truth to hide, the to quench the blushes of ingenuous shame, or heap the shrine of luxury and pride with incense kindled at the muse's flame. Because these farm laborers were not in positions of power, the speaker reasons they never had to ignore their own consciences, nor did they sacrifice their artistic talents, the gifts of the muse, to luxury or pride. Now, Muse is one of the nine sister goddesses who inspired the arts. It also means to say that the villagers' lot in life also prevented them from hiding the truth and shame and from bragging or using pretty or flattering words to gain luxuries or feed their pride. Stanza 19. Far from the madding crowd's ignoble strife, the sober wishes never learnt to stray along the cool sequester's veil of life. They kept the noiseless tenor of the way. The speaker continues his praise of the simple life of common people. They are far from the madding crowd of city and political life. Madding here can mean either maddening, that is, the source of madness or insanity, or it can mean mad, that is, the crowd is itself hatefully insane. In either case, the common country people were removed from this insane world. As a result, they never strayed into the immoral acts of the powerful. Instead, they kept steadily to the simple but meaningful lives. Stanza 20. Yet, even these bones from insult to protect, some frail memorial still erected nigh, with uncouth rhymes and shapeless sculpture decked, implores the passing tribute of a sigh. The speaker then reminds us that these common people are, in fact, long dead. He notes that even if they were not powerful or great, and even if they do not have an elaborate memorial of the sort mentioned in the line 38, they still deserve homage or tribute. At the very least, he suggests, an onlooker should sigh on seeing their graves. Note here the multiple meanings we can attach to the word passing. It can refer to the onlooker, who is simply walking or passing by these graves. It can mean, in passing, that someone seeing these graves should take just a moment out of their busy lives to remember the dead. And passing itself is a euphemism for death. In a way, then, Gray is suggesting that there is no difference between the person passing by the grave and the person who has passed away. Another reminder that all will eventually die. So, friends, we shall now meet in the next video, and I shall take up the other next stanzas of the elegy.